Whispered Pair Number 4, Briar Rose, and the Dog and the Sparrow. Two tales reawakened, one cursed by sleep, the other feathered with vengeance. Tonight, two echoes from the darker branches of the old storybook, one stilled by time, the other sharpened by hunger. These are Grimm's fairy tales, not as they were, softened, but as they might have been, whispered, before the ink dried. Welcome back to the recast Grimm. Briar Rose, a tale stilled in thorns. In a kingdom lost to overgrowth and hush, a queen wandered each day beside a black river that moved like spilled ink. Though robed in silks and crowned in gold, her womb remained silent, hollow as the wind that coiled through the palace halls. One dawn she found a fish sprawled in the mud, its scales dulled to ash, its mouth gaping soundlessly. On impulse, she stooped and cast it back into the river's breathless tide. It lingered, turned, then, with a voice like fog through branches, it spoke.
For kindness given, blood will answer. Your child will come, but fate's mouth is never clean.
The queen told no one. She simply waited, and soon a girl was born, unnaturally still at birth, eyes open, watching. The king wept at her beauty, for it seemed to draw light inward rather than reflect it. They named her Briar Rose, and summoned all to celebrate. 12 fairies came, summoned from their hidden places. They circled the infant's cradle and gave her gifts: grace that curdled envy, beauty sharp enough to wound, wisdom too ancient for childhood. But there had been 13. The last came unbidden, her garments tattered black, her eyes hollow as burned-out stars. She stood at the foot of the crib and said, "On her 15th year, the child will bleed by Spindle's kiss, and sleep forever beneath time's rot." Before silence sealed the hall, the 12th fairy stepped forward and bent the curse. "Not forever," she whispered. "Let death become sleep, let sleep become waiting." The king rattled to the marrow, burned every spindle in the land. But stories are stubborn things. They root in cracks and bloom where fear looks away. On the girl's 15th birthday, when stormlight veiled the sky, the castle stood oddly quiet. Briar Rose wandered its halls alone, feet silent on ancient stone, breath shallow with expectation. A narrow stair she'd never seen before led her to a door she'd never noticed. There, behind it, an old woman turned a wheel that hissed like wind through teeth. "What is this thing?" Briar Rose asked. "A whisper, caught in thread," the crone replied. The girl reached for it and bled. Her body collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. She did not stir, nor did anyone else. The castle fell to hush. The kitchen fires died with no smoke. The falcons froze in mid-cry. Even the flies hung like forgotten ornaments. Outside a hedge grew, not with vines, but veins. It pulsed with the sleeping heartbeat of the world inside. And when princes came to breach it, the thorns opened like mouths. None returned. Decades passed, centuries perhaps. Memory faded, but nightmares persisted. Then, a boy, not noble, not brave, just curious. He walked toward the hedge, not with sword, but silence. And where others had been torn apart, he passed untouched. As if the thorns had been waiting, bored. Inside, the air was thick with dreams that had curdled into ghosts. He followed the stillness to the tower. he opened the door. And there lay Briar Rose, skin like marble veined with sleep. He did not speak, he did not bow, he simply leaned in and kissed her. Her eyes opened, not like waking, but like something remembered how to be. At that moment, the castle exhaled, fires roared to life, wings fluttered, blood stirred. The cook's hand came down, the boys screamed, the wine spilled, the earth turned. And Briar Rose? She smiled. But it wasn't joy. It was hunger. The curse sleeps, but the next tale wakes with wings and wrath. A dog, a cart, and justice that does not forget. The Dog and the Sparrow, a hunger for reckoning. The dog had no name. The shepherd who'd owned him had never bothered to give him one. He kept the hound half-starved in the cold, a skeletal shadow curled at the door of a stone farmhouse, where meat roasted and bread steamed just beyond reach. For years the dog waited, faithful, patient, and dying. But hunger sharpens more than ribs. One dusk, the dog fled down the narrow road, bones clattering under loose skin, eyes clouded by sorrow and frost. Beneath a blackened tree he collapsed, and the branches whispered. A sparrow alighted beside him. "Why weep, Shadow Wolf?"
"Because I was forgotten, and I'm starving."
"Then come," said the sparrow, voice bright as a blade. "Let me teach you to take." They went into town. The sparrow darted into the butcher's shop, where blood dripped from chains and knives smiled from hooks. She loosened a flank of meat, with quick pecks, sending it tumbling from its perch. The dog, eyes wide, devoured it before it kissed the floor. "There's more," the sparrow said, eyes gleaming. "Thieves eat well when no one watches." At the baker's window, she knocked down rolls, crusted gold and soft white. At a second shop, she shattered the silence with her wings, scattering loaves like leaves. The dog ate and wept while eating. When at last he was full, he whispered, "May I rest a while?" They wandered to the countryside road. The sun, bloated and red, sagged against the horizon. The dog curled into sleep, belly full, heart quiet. The sparrow perched on a bush and watched, and from the distance came the slow, ponderous growl of wheels. A cart approached, creaking, groaning under the weight of wine barrels. Drawn by 3 laboring horses, the driver, a brute with knotted hands, did not slow when he saw the dog in the road. "Stop!" cried the sparrow. "Spare him!" The driver spat. "Out of the way, vermin!" The whip cracked, the wheels rolled. The dog did not wake again. The sparrow landed on his still form, her voice cold as sleet. "You have spilled what was sacred. Now yours shall be drained in kind." And so the vengeance began. She crept beneath the cart's canvas and loosened the cask's plug. Wine bled onto the dirt in a silent stream. The driver cursed when he saw it. "Unlucky wretch that I am!" "Not wretched enough," whispered the sparrow from above. She pecked at the lead horse until it reared in panic. The man raised his axe in fury. The sparrow darted. The blow struck true, but not on feather. The horse fell. "Still not enough." She emptied the second cask. Another peck, another scream. Another beast crumpled, and still she echoed, "Not enough." The third horse died with a final, echoing thud. The man, now trudging through the bloodied dirt, stumbled home with red hands and red thoughts. But the sparrow had flown ahead. At his cottage, she brought company. A murmuration 1,000 strong, blackening the rafters. They poured into his grain stores like shadow and famine. They are devouring everything, cried his wife. He tore upstairs, hatchet in hand, but his grain was already dust beneath talons. Not enough, said the sparrow. His rage splintered the house. Furniture shattered, windows screamed, the walls cracked. Still, she danced just beyond reach. At last, trembling, they caught her. Shall we kill her? His wife asked. No, hissed the carter. Too easy. I'll eat her alive. As he gripped her, the sparrow tilted her head. Then it is time. He handed the hatchet to his wife. Strike! The blade missed its mark, but it found his skull. And the sparrow, silent now, flew from the ruin back into the dusk where carrion waits and justice watches. Not all justice is gentle, and not all endings lie still. If these tales stirred something beneath the skin, whispered sleep or stirred rage, let them linger. And if you'd like to keep walking deeper into the dark with me, leave a light along the path, a comment, a like, or even a subscription. And remember, keep reading, keep listening, and keep smiling. And until next time, sleep deep and fly true.